Good afternoon. You are listening to the new WCEG network on WCEGTalkRadio.com, your worldwide community empowerment group. My name is Pennye Rogers, and I have an interesting guest in front of me today, State Representative Valenci. We wanted to just continue this interview since she was in the studio today, and I've been trying to catch a lot of my guests and my show host to find out who they are so that our audience would know who they are outside of what we talk about and what we do on a daily basis. And Valencia, thank you so much for coming in, sharing with us on the new session, the new some of the activities and events that are coming up, and your new legislation that you are putting out in the state of Georgia under the Gold Dome. So for right now, we're just going to talk for a few minutes to ask Valencia who she is. And my first question to Valencia is, what is your specialty, or what is your area or sector?
I am a state representative, Georgia State Representative. I've been elected since 2012. So this session actually entered into my fourth term of office.
Fourth term. Okay. So how did you know that's what you wanted to do? How did you know?
Well, I did have any idea that that's what I want to do. I've always been an advocate, always speaking up for those who I feel have been wronged. Ever since I was a little girl, I got in a lot of trouble about that. And the biggest influencer is my dad, Levitt Stovall, and many people always hear me talking about him, and also my two sisters, we always talk about our dad, who was very involved in politics, even in the early 70s when Maynard Jackson first was elected as the first African-American mayor of a southern city. He worked on Mayor Jackson's campaign. He was actually his community field person. And so once Mayor Jackson was elected, he had a department that handled issues or concerns from community members. And that person that he had assigned was my dad. So my dad got a chance to know about the whole city of Atlanta. And when things happened, he contacted the mayor and said, hey, this is an issue. Or if someone contacted the mayor's office, he said, Stovall, I need you to go to handle this issue. And so so that's one of the ways how he got involved into politics. And then he's helped so many mayors after Maynard Jackson to get elected in office. Even when Mayor Franklin decided to run, my daddy was right there supporting her as well. And he's helped lieutenant governors, governors in the past, city council members, state representatives, state senators. So we've always been involved. And then we had a printing business. And so we did a lot of printing for some of the elected officials, community events, family reunions. And so that was our family business that we had. And we also, through that business, we were able to become the first African-American company to have a joint venture partnership with a major merchandising company. So when the Georgia Dome was first built in 1991, we entered in as a minority contractor to handle the merchandising. So everything that wasn't food, we sold it at the Georgia Dome. We didn't print it, of course, which we could have, but we provided the vendors to be able to sell the merchandise. And so over those years, I think we probably have touched probably about 20,000 people over there, because we were there until 2008. From there. So it was a good experience. Started out, I think I was about maybe 21 or something like that. So having a huge responsibility like that. But my dad has always been involved in the community. He was a NPU, which is Neighborhood Planning Unit president. And so for those who don't know, in Atlanta, and this actually was created by Mayor Jackson, so that the community can have a voice. So he could develop alphabetical system, so they call neighborhood planning units, and there's a letter after each one, and it represents a community.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so he was a NPU-wide chairperson, and I remember my first time being involved with that. I used to go to the meetings with him all the time, and then the group, and most of them were older adults, and so I just thought they just sat there and argued all the time. I didn't realize they really were talking about pertinent issues in the community. And so they said, well, Stovall, we need a secretary. They said, don't your daughter want to be a secretary? I was like, I don't want to be no secretary. I don't know what secretary do. And they voted me in as secretary.
Wow.
And so they didn't tell me not to write down everything. They are supposed to do a summary. So I wrote down, if they talked about somebody, I wrote it down.
Oh my God. Okay.
Which they did a number of times. They would get to arguing and everything. And so I wrote down the next meeting and said, okay, we're going to have the reading of the minutes.
Oh my God.
I had typed it all up and passed out copies. And so when they saw some of the people had their name in there, what they said, oh, hold on, baby. You need to take them minutes back up. We're not going to prove those minutes. You need to go back and revise them. Okay. So I always think back and think that was a funny time, but I learned then what a secretary is supposed to do and not supposed to do.
But then, too, what people need to talk about and what they don't need. Okay, right. Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry. Okay. Now, that's interesting. That's funny. Thank you, Valencia. So now, I know that you said your father was a big influence, but when did you take that leap?
I would say it was in 2012. The person who was the current representative decided to run for county commission chair. So that means that seat became open. It was an open seat. And so we talked about it, and Dad said, why don't you run? I was like, no. I said, Daddy, you know, my mouth going to get me in trouble. Somebody going to say something, and I'm going to fly off the mouth with them. And I ain't going to let them get by by saying something and being quiet. Okay. And he was like, no, they need somebody down there like that. I was like, oh, okay. No. So we talked as a family, and my dad said, you're not doing nothing. I said, I am doing something. He said, no, you're not. Go ahead and run for it. What you got to lose? Okay. And so we went ahead and ran. We were victorious the first time. The second time that I had to run, I had two people that were in the race. And the unique part about it, both of them were former representatives. Wow. So all their signs said re-elect. So my sign says re-elect. Theirs say re-elect. So all the voters are figuring out who's really the incumbent. And it was like, is that right? I said, yeah, because all of them are former representatives. So they use the trick, you got a point. You know, the trick of politics that comes with. Right. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Okay. Wow. But we were victorious without a runoff. We had over 60%. All right now. And then the third term, I didn't have anybody. But then this current past term, I did have an opponent, and we won again. So I think the citizens and the voters of District 74 for allowing me to have the ability to be able to come back and serve again. Absolutely. So what? So how many years has it been now since you first started? Since you took that jump? Yeah, it's this be 6 years. Okay. Yeah, okay. Because I'm going into my fourth term, which will be 8 years at the end of 2020. Okay, so the terms go for 2 years. 2 years. Great. Okay. And I know you said your father was your biggest influencer. Is there someone else that you can contribute that to as well? I would say both my sisters and my children. Okay. My sister Sharon is usually she's the oldest. Everybody think I'm older than her because I'm more vocal than she is. Right. Okay. And but she's one of my strongest supporters. You know, after my dad, when it comes down to that, and she kind of is the one to keep me level. Her and my dad both have to keep me level. And sometimes they'll participate in whatever's going on. So we all don't none of us be level. So it depends on what the subject is. And but she's most of the laid back person, even out of all of us. But very, very wise when it comes down to making decisions and what I should do, what I shouldn't do. And then my youngest sister, which is a fireball like me. So it's funny because my older sister had two fireballs up under her that she had to always keep in check. And then, like I said, because of the experiences with my children, one of my children having a learning disability. So early on, I had to learn about the school system and what my rights were as a parent. Okay. And that's one of the reasons I fight very hard for students with special needs, because I don't want a parent to have to go through what I went through. And especially when the school districts are not being as supported to parents like that, like myself at that time, when it came to making decisions as far as how do I make sure that my child has what he needs. And at that time, the special needs scholarship had just been voted on by the state legislature. Okay. I didn't understand. I was not elected at that time, of course. So what is the special needs scholarship? So what it does, it allows parents whose kids have been enrolled in a traditional school to have money set aside for them to go to a specialized school. Okay. For whatever the disability is for their child. Okay. And it's using taxpayers' money for that scholarship. Okay. And so a lot of people, believe it or not, were not in support of it. They felt that taxpayer money should not go to private schools. And what we had to explain to them is that if the local school district does not have the capacity and don't have the specialized teachers that need to be able to do it, then what do you want that parent who has a child has a disability? They're going to always have to take care of them.
Absolutely.
And so if they have a chance with getting specialized help to be able to help make them better productive citizens, why not allow that rather than keep them in the school system and they can't do it? So those are kind of the fights that we have down at the state capitol when it comes to that. So that's how I got involved. And then with my daughter, she ended up taking one of the charter schools online. She went online with Georgia Connections online. Okay. So I have experience with being a parent of school choice. Okay. With that, and then I ended up having to letting her go back to her regular high school, and it was because the prom. So she was in 11th grade, and I tried to convince her to stay online because I love the online school because I got real time results as far as her work, and I didn't have to run the teacher down a month later for grades not school, stuff not being graded. And so she said, "Mom, I want to go to the prom." Okay. And I was like, "Oh, they might have an online school prom." She said, "No, they don't have one." And so I emailed the principal, and I was like, "Don't y'all have a prom for online students?" Because they're students from all over the state. From the state, and they said, "No." I said, "Look, y'all need to get that enacted." I said, because that's the only way I could keep her to stay because she wanted to go to the prom. Okay. But the good thing it was a good thing and a bad thing. The bad thing, they didn't have it at the time, so I transferred her back to her high school. And she did go to the prom, but I didn't like academically because she failed. Her academics failed because she was not getting as challenged as much as she was online. And the thing about when she was online, she actually came down to the Capitol with me and was taking her classes while I was at the Capitol. Oh, that was wonderful. I had her interning with me while she was in high school. And so that exposure that she was able to get while she was still doing her classwork was invaluable. And so the good thing that happened was that particular charter school, their governance board met and decided that they were going to actually start having a prom for online students. Oh, wow. So now to this day, they now have prom for online students. So it makes a difference when parents raise their voice and advocate. And it might not be for you at that time to benefit your child, but just think about the children after your child that it can be to benefit. And
people really don't understand until it hits until it's at their door. You can complain about something because it doesn't affect you at that time or impact you or your family or someone that you know, but as soon as it knocks at your door, then you want help. Yeah. Okay? Thank you. Okay, well, you mentioned, so how many siblings do you have? Okay. That just came up after you were talking about being
I have
younger,
two sisters. I'm the middle.
Okay, you're a middle child too, okay.
I always stay in trouble.
Okay, me too.
My daddy stayed at the school for me, and I laughed now because I was like, who would have ever thought that as much as I got in trouble with talking too much, that now I talk for a living.
You talk for a living, and you help, and it helps people really. So, how many daughters do you have, or how many children do you have altogether?
I have a son and a daughter.
A son and a daughter.
My son is 26. My daughter is 22.
Okay, so you've got to tell your age here. Okay, okay. So let's see. What stands out most in your career?
I would say in my political career, it would be the impact of my voice being able to speak for those who can't speak for themselves. Okay. And with that that verse in Proverbs, it says, "Speak for those who can't speak for themselves, those that are desolate, all right, that cannot speak." And I said, "Okay, Lord, I have to use my voice because I have a platform to be able to do it." And I remember a time when I wasn't elected, I was speaking, but my voice was not magnified because I didn't have that title behind my name. And so, we've always done things in the community. We actually had our printing business here in Clayton County. We had 2 locations some years ago. And my sister and I, both our kids were at Morrow High School in the band. And the band was trying to raise money. So one of the things that was a pet peeve of my sister and I was having kids standing on the corner with their buckets raising money.
Raising money, okay.
Now, those who want to do it, that's fine. I have a problem with that. And I told my child, our children would not be out there because there are other ways that you can do it. And by us being entrepreneurs, we knew that all you had to do is go and ask a company to sponsor your child or sponsor that organization. Okay. And then you don't have to stand out there and you tell them, hey, I want you to sponsor. And in return, we're going to allow marketing. for your company and
Absolutely.
all of that. So my sister and I came up with an idea of doing unity in the community.
Okay.
So it was actually a community community festival,
Okay.
a fall festival that we did. And so we took the idea. My daughter was at the middle school at the time as well. So we took the idea to the high school principal and to the middle school principal. And because they were both co-located in right there, Morrow Middle in the old Morrow High and the old Morrow Middle School.
Okay.
And then we said, this is a way for the organizations at the school to raise money and let them keep 100% of whatever they raise. So what we did is they had to pay for, they paid like $10 for a stand.
Right.
And then whatever money they raised from that, they kept it with their organization.
Okay.
And then what we did was encourage the organizations to go talk to the local businesses and ask them to sponsor them, and then they would actually market for them. So there was a barbecue company on the corner, so they had like the students that were in the gifted program. They went down and talked to the owner of the barbecue place, and he came and brought his set up for his barbecue and sold wings, and so the kids went around passing out flyers during the festival to promote promote their business.
Okay.
So another idea we gave to the construction department, they didn't do it, but we told them to go talk to Office Depot and have them to come out and do a how-to clinic, because they were doing them in Home Depot anyway.
Right.
And I said then they could pay you all, make a donation, and then you all help recruit people to come to the clinic.
Absolutely.
To the class. So there were ways to do it, and the marching band, which they was a part of, my son and my nephew, they decided to do a haunted hall.
Okay.
And they raised about, I think, $300 the first year.
Okay.
In about 2 hours, because they had the haunted hall. So the kids, they charged the kids 50 cents, so they would come back, and come back.
Okay.
And then the second year they did it, they raised about $700.
Okay.
In one day, in a couple of hours.
Wow.
And so they didn't have to hold up a bucket and stand on the side on the corner.
on the corner. Right. Okay. Okay. Great. So how have you sustained?
By the grace of God.
I can vouch for that. Amen.
Many prayers and having faith. Because a lot of times, especially as in the political arena, you're always in the face of the public. You have to always watch what you're saying, and always constantly, when I go out the door, I'm on alert at all times.
Okay.
Listen, you might want to say that, but you can't say that.
But you can't say that,
yeah,
right?
Not right
I
now.
got you, right,
It's
right.
Not like that.
It's time and place for it, okay.
And so, knowing that, and I always ask God to give me wisdom, but at the same time, give me boldness when I need it.
Absolutely.
And also having a heart for the people that I serve, but don't be overwhelmed with having a heart, because sometimes you can have to do too much, and then it becomes a burdensome on you and your family.
Absolutely.
Because you have to have time for your family as well.
And yourself.
So, yeah.
Lord have
and
mercy.
so balancing that is probably the most challenge out of being a political, I won't say, I don't like the word politician, so you always hear me say elected official.
Everybody's not up.
And then running a business, I revamped our family business. We downsized it, so I still do the printing business as well. So balancing that when I have a customer calling, so I want to get this, and then I have a constituent calling.
Right.
So you have to balance, the two with that. So yeah, so only by God's grace.
Well, mentioning the family business, can you give us the name and maybe a number or a
Yes,
website or some information?
Yeah, so it's Val Promotions, LLC, and the phone number is 678-668-0872. I'm still working on doing my Facebook page, because I said, I do a little bit. The funny part about it, how I decided to continue it, is because we've had customers for over 30 years.
Wow.
And when we just told everybody, we're not going to be doing printing anymore, they said, we don't want to hear that.
Okay.
You all have done our printing all these years
That's
for our
right.
family
Return
union or whatever.
customers.
And
so your family, really? Oh,
yeah. And so they'll call me and say, hey, Melissa, I got this my design, or can you come up with a design? And so I kind of been doing this. I really hadn't publicized it, but I said this year I'm going to really push it out there.
I'm glad we're starting right here today. Give us that name and phone number again, please.
Val Promotions, 678-668-0872.
See, you learned something new. I'm glad we did do this interview, because I wouldn't have known that, okay, nor people that will be tuning in or are tuning in right now. Okay, the next question. What would you say to a younger self?
Slow down a little bit. Listen more. Talk a little bit less.
Except for when you do what kind of work that you're in, the field that you're in, not work, but the field that you're in.
Have a little bit more patience for wanting things to happen in life. Because sometimes, as my younger self, I push, and I want this done now, And then sometimes when it was rushed, it wasn't always the best outcome.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's on the horizon for you?
I don't know. I know that, like I said, when I get to the point where I don't want to be in this position anymore, I know I'm fair enough to say, enough is enough. I know this is not a long-term position. You won't see me 12, 15, 20 years
Really?
In this position. I might think of another position that I might want to go after, but I still will investigate and see what's going to be required, because that's the other thing, is the amount of time. And you always want to give the best whenever you're in something.
Absolutely.
And I don't want to have steps. So if I decide to stay here, I don't want to get to the point when I'm numb to issues that are going on in the community, because I'm representing, I don't want to go over there, or I expect this to happen, so I don't want to get to that point. And so when I start feeling like that, when I'm tired, I don't want nobody calling me anymore about an issue, then that's when I would give it up out to someone else to take the seat.
Okay.
And then hopefully, if they want my advice on, hey, well, how did you handle some things? Then I give it. Even now with the new freshmen, every time they come in, I usually tell them, if you have a question, you can come in and ask me. I'm not going to put my beliefs or what I think on you. I said, now, we'll tell you, sometimes they think I'm a little trouble down here. I said, so you have to watch out.
All right,
so I always warn them beforehand. So, but I really like what I'm doing. I like being able to be able to help people, and most of all, being able to give out information for things that I know that people normally don't know about.
Okay. So would you just mention about, since we were talking about the young people, if they were interested in coming to the Capitol to work at a capacity or volunteer as a capacity, do they still call them pages or whatever?
So,
okay, I just want to make sure I wasn't too far back with the terminology.
So we do have a page program. We're limited to 10 pages per session.
Okay.
And so, but you have to be at least 12 years of age and 18. So if you graduate from high school, you don't qualify.
Oh, okay.
For the page program.
Too old for that. Okay.
And so you would be able to contact their legislator. And it's they can either go to openstate.org as a website, and you put in your address, and then they'll tell you who your representative.
Okay.
And they can also come back again on the Senate side. So the House, we have our pages when we're in session, and the Senate have pages at the same time as well. And so the students receive $10 for coming down the page. And I always tell them, don't spend that $10 all at one place. It's a lot of money. And they receive a certificate, and they're actually they're marked as excused absence.
Okay.
So it is excused absence because there's education.
Right, education. That's wonderful.
And then if students want to come down, even parents or adults that want to come down while we're in session to actually see what all the excitement is about, is very high energy at the Capitol. And so they can definitely contact me.
Turn that down for me. Okay. I'll try to talk over that one. I'm sorry. I'm supposed to be assisting, and I'm over here in front of the mic now. Call us back, okay? 678-619-1402, 678-619-1402. If Mr. Oliver grab that keyboard and log us back into our Skype, then we'll be able to pick up the call without having them to call us back. When we do apologize. Did we finish? I'm sorry. Did we get a chance to finish before we start getting the ringing in our ear?
I think I was.
You were letting us know about the $10.
Yes. And if there's any adult that would like to come down to the Capitol, also there's definitely let me know. That we are allowed to have floor passes that allow you to sit in on our chamber session. Or you can always come down and sit on the fourth floor in the gallery. That's free and open to the public as well. And then if there's a college student that wants to get more involved with the political process and learn how it goes, I do offer intern position. I actually have 2 this year.
Are
who
there
are seniors?
Age restrictions?
No, because even if it's a high school student, they want to be an intern. I have plenty of stuff I do in the community.
Okay.
That while they're not in school on the weekend or when they get out of school, I can always put them to work.
Okay. Would they have to be in your district?
No.
Oh, okay. Okay. Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, we have a couple more questions. Well, maybe 4 more questions. I won't say a couple. What would you tell a younger self? What's on the horizon for you? If you had to or could, what would you do differently? Or would you do anything differently?
I don't think I would do anything differently. I've learned from the experiences. Even when I first became elected, one good thing that was a blessing is that some of the elected officials that were down there, my dad had actually helped them in their campaign. Okay. So I didn't come in the door not knowing anybody. Okay. I did have to come in and establish who I was going to be as an elected official and what were going to be my area of expertise that I was going to focus on. Because even though there are a lot of things going on, you don't want to spread yourself out with trying to do this and that. So now, if you come down to the Capitol, you talk to anybody and they ask you about Representative Stovall, they're going to say, oh, she like education. You ask anything on education, you ask her.
That's good.
And to be at a point where you have colleagues that recognize that if it's an education bill or somebody's contacting them about education, some of them will call me and say, Representative, we know you're on the education committee. This happened, this, that. What should I tell the person, or what do you recommend how they handle this particular situation? And so at that point, I knew that I've gotten to the point where I've earned at least enough respect that some people feel like I know something about education, even though I'm not an educator. But I tell them I educated myself about the system because of my children that were involved in it, and because of children after my children. That I want to make sure that they have what my children might not have had an opportunity for.
Absolutely. That's good. That's good. Okay. Since you mentioned about your business outside of what you do with the at the Capitol, what pearls of wisdom would you give for another young woman that wants to be an entrepreneur, or what they call shepreneurs now, or mompreneurs now? What pearls of wisdom would you give to someone, a young woman wanting to go into business?
I would definitely say find something that you're passionate about. God gives all of us talent and special things that we're able to do naturally, that you don't even have to think on how to do it. It just comes to you. And I would say start there, because that's where you're going to be most happy. And when you're starting a business, because it takes a lot of sacrifice, and many times you might not get the pay that you want to get paid, or that you feel like you deserve to get paid, when it's something that you enjoy doing, then you're able to keep working on it, and don't give up, and don't take no as being no forever. No means no not right now. Right. And so continue to be persistent, but also being respectful of the situation and the people that you're dealing with, and always remember not to burn a bridge. Even if you disagree with the person, you never know how God fixed things, that you have to come right back around to that person. So that's what I would say. Be careful in the company that you keep. You want to be around people that are going to help push you, not pull you down.
All right. Okay. Get those naysayers, those toxic people out of your life too. Trust me. Last question here. What legacy are you leaving, or what legacy do you want to leave?
I definitely want to create the Valenci Stovall Foundation.
Okay.
And that part of that legacy is encouraging our young people in making career choices, and how the best way to be able to make the best career choices, and what it means to give back to your community and making it a better place, because you've given back and not taking so much and not giving back. So that's what I would say my legacy is making sure that our young people have the best opportunity and exposure to as much as possible, so that they can make very informed decisions about their lives.
Okay. Well, thank you. I hope that wasn't too hard for you today.
No, it wasn't.
We wanted to know who Valenci is. We know some of what you do, but we just needed to know a little bit more, as what I call tapping into your inner mogul, just finding out what makes you tick and how did you get on that journey. And I want to thank you so much for joining us here on the new WCEG network. Since the last time you've been here, I was kind of fooling with my tablet and my phones and so forth. And I thank Mr. Oliver, who's come in now today with our cameras. And, sometimes we go through a little technical issues, but then we still keep it going. And that's what life kind of tends to do for us, too. Things may not go according to the plan that you set for yourself, but sometimes we can't go straight. to what we want to do. We have to swerve,
Yes.
as Michelle Obama put in her book, Becoming. You know, you have to learn how to swerve and go
Yeah.
around the different detours that life will take you on. But it won't always be a straight road. But I want to thank you for joining us here today. And, you know, you're welcome to come back anytime. And I'm glad that you were able to kind of take some time today,
Yes.
because I thought it was going to take a minute for you to be able to come in because your schedule is so hectic. You're all over the place. I don't know how, I guess, managing the time,
Yeah.
what you do, and you do it well because you're
Thank
here, you're over there, and some of these are in the same day. And I'm like, oh my God, how does she do that? I just get tired watching you sometimes, but I really do appreciate you coming in.
Thank you.
And, what it takes to do what you do, it takes a special person, because I feel you have to be called.
Yeah.
Some of us may have those plans in life that we want what we want to do, but you have to be called to do some things too, because as you say it, if it comes to a time when you don't want to do this, you got to know when to hold and when to fold, when to
Yes.
quit and when to move on, other than remaining in a position or taking or doing things and your mind and heart is not in it.
Yeah.
So I want to thank you for
Thank you. I
the time that
appreciate
you
it.
have put in, and I hope you can give us a lot more service to go. Okay.
I appreciate
Thank
that.
you. Stay tuned. Tomorrow we will be back on Saturday. We have Mr. Oliver, we got a long day tomorrow. We have our immigrations attorneys coming in beyond the border. We will be talking with Elizabeth Garvish and Audra Doles and a few of the other immigrations attorneys from Atlanta. They will be coming in at 9 a.m. in the morning until 11 a.m. with Beyond the Border, all talk immigration, all things immigrations. Then we'll be on from 11 a.m. until 1 p.m. with Church Biz. Reverend Patrina McClure, she'll be coming in with some special guests. And then we will return for the new year again with our millennials. You know, we have a intern program for our young people, age 6 to 36. And they will be coming in, our the new millennial talk. That will be our at least 20 to 30-year-olds coming in, giving their worldview, and they have special guests on tomorrow as well from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. So stay tuned. Join us at 9 a.m. in the morning for Beyond the Border, and we'll look to see you then. And thank you so much, and Happy New Year. Thanks, Valencia, for coming in.
Thank you. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
you all having me.
Thank you, Ms. Oliver. Thanks.